The opposition says it will vigorously pursue and expose how an Indonesian national named Djoko Tjandra was granted PNG citizenship when he was wanted in his country for fraud-related charges. The Indonesian embassy in PNG has released a statement saying Tjandra is wanted for bank fraud and also has a 2-year jail term against his name. The issue was raised in Parliament yesterday by Deputy Opposition Leader, but according to Mr. Basel, the Foreign Affairs Minister failed to answer his queries directly. Jahab Akia reports.
On the floor of Parliament yesterday, Mr. Basel queried what laws the country had in relation to the extradition of foreign nationals with questionable backgrounds, making reference to a statement made by the Indonesian embassy here in the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Rimbik Pato said his office has not received any notice from the Indonesian embassy in relation to the citizen consent, and if it had, there were processes that needed to be followed before steps to deport or extradite a person can be undertaken.
The position is this: those internal processes remain to be completed. Of course, they are independent processes. It's not as if all of those things are done by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Parliament is there, the Legislative Council is there, the Department of Justice and Attorney General is there. So it's similar in Indonesia, same as it is here. In bringing those treaties into force, of course, we're looking to the completion of those processes. I'm unable to give the details as to what those actual processes are, but obviously, if those processes were completed, then...
The opposition called a media conference immediately after the session, saying the answers given were not satisfactory.
Our Indonesian government, through its embassy in Papua New Guinea, released a statement confirming that Djoko Tjandra, now born again Joe Chen, is a fugitive. And he has a case to answer for, and he was sentenced for 2 years by the courts in Indonesia. And now Papua New Guinea government has facilitated for that person to be here. My questions were, I asked about the provisions of matters relating to fugitives from Papua New Guinea and Indonesia. What are the agreement or treaty that we have between Indonesia and Papua New Guinea? The Foreign Affairs Minister never answered the question.
Opposition leader Don Polier said they would be investigating this issue to come to the root of how this foreigner was granted citizenship after being in the country a very short time. He said letters would be written to the Indonesian embassy, banks and other relevant authorities to find out more on this issue. Mr. Polier further stated that we cannot as a nation allow persons with questionable characters to live freely in the country, as we are signatories to the United Nations Agenda on Transnational Crimes. Jahab Akia, NBC National News, Port Moresby.